So now I'm in a space where I understand what people are talking about. When people say they're on their healing journey, I am now on that same journey. Also in a sense, like beating myself up on why didn't you see certain things? Why do you have such a lack of discernment? How come you are coming into these challenging situations? It's kind of like taking inventory of myself. I'm like, what can I do so that I don't end up in the same situation? What can I do to not attract this again? And so, of course, nobody's perfect, but also I think with every relationship, a lot of times you are the common factor. Like, I remember asking my cousin the other day, I was like, am I crazy? Is there something wrong with me? Because they say you attract who you are, but am I mirroring who I'm attracting? And even when you made the right decision, you still are there's still going to be challenges that you face. There's still going to be hurt. There's still going to be anger. There's still going to be so many questions. Because a lot of times when people are healing from something, they're healing from somebody who may have had trauma that passed it on to them, who maybe have not done the work. So now you have the trauma. And now if you don't do the work, then you can pass that trauma on to somebody else who has done nothing to you. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video of Brianna Thizard's journey. Thank you all for everyone who has tuned in. Please comment, like, and subscribe. I didn't post a video last Sunday, but I want to wish everyone a happy Mother's Day. I hope you had an amazing Mother's Day. And as always, I like to get straight into it. So today we are going to be talking about healing. And this is a conversation that I've been having with myself for quite some time now. If you haven't seen my previous videos, 2023, a lot happened in 2023. It was a very, very challenging year for me. And this idea of healing, I feel like on social media, you hear it all the time. People say, I'm in a healing process, healing. And for me, I would always question, like, why is everybody healing? Like, what are people healing from? Like, what is this healing process? Because I didn't feel like in my life there was anything that I necessarily had to heal from. And so when I would hear it, I would just be like, man, like people are really going through some things. And I would just say, looking back on my life in terms of my childhood, it wasn't a very challenging childhood. I mean, overall, it was honestly amazing, had amazing parents, never really wanted or needed for anything. And so I never felt like I needed to heal from childhood trauma. Like, of course, there were some things that might have been challenging, but nothing that I really felt like I had to go on a healing journey through. And so I would say overall, I mean, of course, having challenges in your life, everyone has challenges, but I will say it wasn't until I really started entering this adulthood and being in romantic relationships where I really felt like that's when healing had to actually start. And so I feel like I was coasting, and then boom, I got to a point where I needed to be in a healing process. And so just to give you an overview, last year I was supposed to be married. I did not get married. The wedding didn't happen. The marriage didn't happen. The relationship is no longer a thing. And for me in the past, like I would have relationships and kind of just like move on, like, all right, it didn't work out. It is what it is. But I think that one in particular really put me on this healing journey. And so now I'm in a space where I understand what people are talking about. When people say they're on their healing journey, I am now on that same journey. And I would just say my overall experience, it truly has its ebbs and flows. There are times where I feel like I'm on top of the world. I move past all of this. And then there'll be certain things that'll be a trigger that may bring me back. And so I feel like I've been going through these different cycles. And honestly, I'll just talk about the cycles that I've been going through. Like, of course, the happy cycle of like, okay, I'm good. Like, I'm very optimistic, in a great space. But then there will be certain times where I feel angry. Like, there are times where I'm so angry with God. I'm like, first of all, why didn't you protect me? Second of all, why did you allow this to happen? Why did this happen? Why did this happen to me? And so I think having that anger and also having anger towards a person, it's crazy to have anger towards a person that you no longer communicate with. It's actually a crazy thing. Like, this is not someone you see. This is not someone you talk to, but inside you feel so angry. Like, why? Like, there's so many questions. And so definitely anger plays a part of it. I think also feeling sad in terms of, dang, like, did I make the right decision? Or why did going back to why did this happen to me? Anger and sadness are two different feelings, and definitely feeling both. And, also in a sense, like beating myself up on why didn't you see certain things? Why do you have such a lack of discernment? How come you are coming into these challenging situations, and although I've had situations in the past, they never impacted me like they have with the most recent one. And so just really going through this journey of just like kind of trying to reflect on what in the world. I think there are certain times where I'm like, did that really happen? Was that a thing? Because of just, it was just so traumatic for me. And I just think overall it's been quite the journey. And it's so interesting because you can be away from someone and not communicate with someone, but it can still play, it can really affect you. It really can. And so I think just me on my journey, that's just kind of where I am, like having those ebbs and flows of just like feeling happy and then feeling angry and then feeling sad, and then also beating myself up on like, how did you not see certain things? How did you not have that discernment? And it really allowed me to take inventory of myself, because for me, I want an amazing family. I want to be a wife. I want to be a mom. I want to have a purposeful life. And so it's kind of like taking inventory of myself. I'm like, what can I do so that I don't end up in the same situation? What can I do to not attract this again? And so, of course, nobody's perfect, but also I think with every relationship, a lot of times you are the common factor. And so really taking inventory of myself and saying, like, I remember asking my cousin the other day, I was like, am I crazy? Is there something wrong with me? Because they say you attract who you are, but am I mirroring who I'm attracting? And so just honestly taking inventory of like, okay, what is something that I can change within myself? What is something that I can change when it comes to my approach? What is certain red flags? What are certain green flags that I can identify so that I don't continue to come in this cycle? And of course, healing is a journey. As you evolve in life, there are going to be different things that you need to heal from, but I don't want to continue to be on a journey where I'm constantly having to heal from relationships. I don't want to do that. And so, of course, you have challenges in relationships, but this healing process, oh my goodness, it's a lot. And so that's just where I've been at currently. And just, again, going through those ebbs and flows and just really having a lot of questions. But I think when you look at the spectrum of things, you're like, wow, like I've had a very, very blessed life. I'm having an amazing childhood, being in a place now where I'm so purposeful and living in my purpose and happy with where I am in my career and just in a great space, but also feeling like, man, this part of my life, it's like, seems like such a challenge. But I think also looking at it, I'm like, man, one day when I meet that person, oh my goodness, I'm going to be such an amazing wife, because I know of how challenging it was to get to where I am or where I will be, so I think that's just kind of where I've been. And also, I think my main thing is I don't want to spew anything on someone else, because a lot of times when people are healing from something, they're healing from somebody who may have had trauma that passed it on to them, who maybe have not done the work. So now you have the trauma. And now if you don't do the work, then you can pass that trauma on to somebody else who has done nothing to you. And so for me, it's so important to really take inventory on just life in general and my experience. And again, my point of view, somebody can have a different point of view, but just taking the inventory so that when that person comes in my life, I'm not spewing all the things that I've experienced onto them. I don't want to do that. That is not fair. I don't want anybody to do that on me. I don't want to do that to anyone else. So really taking the work to make sure that doesn't happen. So of course, with any video, of course, I'm sharing my journey, Brianna Thizard's journey, and just talking about, again, my healing process, but also what I'm doing to work through this. And so one, I would say definitely getting outside, taking walks, taking runs has been very helpful for me. Talking to friends and being open has been great. Prayer helps a lot, listening to sermons, and then eventually I will probably do therapy. But I just realized, man, it's just a journey. And again, I can't believe that I'm on this healing journey. When I tell you, I feel like every day on social media, I hear about somebody on this healing journey, and I'm like, what is going on? And to see where I am now, and again, so thankful for all of the amazing blessings in my life. But just, this has been a challenge. This has definitely been a challenge. I would say, I feel like I've kind of had like my life is kind of on a coast, like, okay, like things are going pretty well, but I think this has probably been the most challenging and most traumatic experience that I've had. And, you know, a lot of people say everything happens for a reason. But for me, I think what makes it hard to conceptualize is because I don't understand the reason. That's a challenge for me. I don't understand. So, you know, sometimes people can say, oh, this happened to me so that I can become this. This happened to me so I can become that. But I still don't understand the reasoning. And I think that's why I'm having the conversation with God. Like, why did you allow this to happen? That's why I'm having the conversation with myself with why weren't you able to discern certain things? Because I don't understand what the reason was. And so I know everyone has challenges in life and nothing's going to be easy, but I'm just trying to connect. I'm like, I just have to connect the dots, and I'm not able to connect the dots. I don't know how this made me better. I feel like it's made I just feel like a sense of heaviness. Of course, it's not all the time. And again, you have your ebbs and flows, but it's like I've never really had a heaviness in my life. It's always been, you know, challenges, but I never felt like my heart felt heavy or my spirit felt heavy or I felt like I was fighting through something. And I feel like in where I am, just with just how life has played out, I feel that more than I feel that really for the first time. And so just really feeling like, okay, you gotta like fight through this. And it's a challenge because then you look at yourself and like what's wrong with me? Like, why, what did I do? And so it's just an overall challenge. But again, this healing thing is no joke. You can be fine, and then the next minute you're like, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm struggling and I feel discouraged. And there's times where I'm so optimistic and I'm like, I'm gonna have the most amazing family. I'm gonna overcome this part of life. And then there's other times where I just feel like just so scared. I'm so scared sometimes to, you know, as I move forward, I'm like, am I gonna track the same thing? Am I gonna go through this cycle again? Like, I feel like I've had such challenging experiences. Is it going to get worse? Am I too nice? Like, what is it? And so I think a part of it is feeling like still optimistic, but also feeling sad, but also feeling fearful that I'm going to continue to attract the same things or the same type of person. And so that's just kind of where I've been with my journey. But again, I am praying for the best. Of course, as always, just really sharing my experience and my healing journey and just kind of where I've been with the situation. I think also in a sense, I don't want to say it's a blessing, but it's a blessing that this is like my first really traumatic situation. There's so many people. If you don't know, I have a nonprofit organization that we work with youth in foster care. And so learning more about youth in care, just seeing how challenging their childhood can be and the traumas that you can face as a child, just from nothing that you have done yourself. You just came into this world, and just knowing that there's so much that people go through in that childhood phase, and just kind of reflecting on my life. And it's like, man, like, girl, you should be fine. Like, you didn't experience certain things in your childhood, but it doesn't matter. Everybody is going to have a point in life where you are going to get hit. And I think the biggest thing is learning how to cope from however you've been hit. I never really thought a romantic relationship would really hit me that hard, because I've been in them before and was like, all right, like, I'm good to go. But no, this one in particular was very challenging. I think because there was genuine love. I think that was probably it. Genuinely loved the person, and then also not having a sense of closure. So it's like, okay, you don't have closure, and you kind of are just trying to piece things together in your head. Like, okay, so wait, what happened again? Like, how did this happen? Like, everything just feels like it happened so fast. And learning that you have to have closure for yourself. How do you move on without someone like feeling like you got an apology? Or how do you move on without having those dots connected on like, this is what happened, this is why this happened? And I feel like in prior relationships, we kind of had that debrief on like, all right, this is what happened. This is, this is my point of view. Well, this is my point of view. And you kind of work through that. And even though you're no longer together, you kind of have that closure. And still, honestly, to this day, like if you were to see the person, like if I were to see the person, I'm like, oh, hey, like, it'll be fine. But I think with this one in particular, life happened so quickly. It was just a lot. It was just a lot. And so a part of the healing as well, I have an amazing family outside of my mom and my dad and my siblings, amazing cousins and aunts. But I feel like also, and I was talking to my mom about this, the challenge is also feeling like I don't want to be seen, which is so crazy. I'm such a big family person. And I feel like there's like a sense of embarrassment of like, oh my God, like here I go again. This was so public because there was a wedding plan. There were tickets that were purchased. There were hotels that were booked to do, to celebrate this union, and it didn't happen. And I feel like there's a sense of embarrassment, even though I know that that was the best decision for my life. And still to this day, I know that that was the best decision for my life, but just feeling like, oh my goodness, like this was such on display. And so just healing through that as well. And it's crazy because nobody in my family was like, oh my God, girl, like what again? Nobody has said that. But just for myself is a sense of like, oh, damn, like I failed again, but it was a public failure. And even though I'm not a celebrity or anything, just, amongst my family and my close friends. And so that's been a challenge to work through, of just also thinking about what others think. And I know you shouldn't do that, but that's how I feel. And it's just been a journey. But again, I don't want to always just be so positive because I have so many things to be thankful for, but I think it's also important to reflect on the challenges that you have. This is Brianna Thizard's journey. This is my journey. And so every day is not going to be happy. Every season is not going to be happy. Now, am I thankful that I made the decision that I did? Absolutely. But there are going to be effects after the decision. Even when you made the right decision, you still are going to there's still going to be challenges that you face. There's still going to be hurt. There's still going to be anger. There's still going to be so many questions. And so just really taking this journey of just really reflecting on where I've been and where I'm going, and just making sure that, I'm not saying that I have to be perfect before I meet my person, but just again, making sure I'm doing the work and just working through it in general of just, like, it's okay. Your family is so supportive of you. You don't have to be embarrassed by anything. You don't have to beat yourself up about not having great discernment, but here are some things that you can do so that the next time you can trust your discernment. And so, yeah, I think overall it's just a journey, just giving myself grace, I think, is the biggest thing, and just knowing that everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. But I think it's just a lot to unpack because, again, everything happened so fast. Everything was so public. There was no closure. It was just like this. It never really got time to like, all right, what happened? Like, I feel like that has happened. And then also just like elephant in the room, that you actually cared about that person, like you actually love them. So that's like a whole nother dynamic. And just because you decide to leave someone that you love doesn't mean that still doesn't hurt. So just going through the motions, and that's just where I've been. Again, ebbs and flows, but just wanted to share where I've been on my healing journey. I know everyone may be on a different healing journey. Maybe you're healing from your childhood. Maybe you're healing from romantic relationships and feeling like, what am I doing wrong? Why do I keep going and getting into the same relationships? Like really beating yourself up, and just knowing that you are not alone on your journey, whatever journey you are on. And I know it looks different from everyone, but I would say, it's a part of life. Like, we're all going to go through challenges. We're all going to go through journeys. And I pray that whatever journey you're on, that you are doing the work to get, help, whether that's therapy, whether that's getting out and walking, whether that's going out with friends, whether that's just taking time for yourself. Because therapy can look so different from everyone. It doesn't mean you have to sit down and speak with a therapist, although that is an amazing way. There's so many different things that you can do. So again, just sharing my journey, and I pray that I continue to do the work and continue to heal, and just, pray for answers too. I'm praying for answers as well. And I think that really comes with having quiet time with God and saying like, okay, let's do an inventory. And maybe you told me this already, but you need to tell me again, like, what is it that I need to work on? And then also just, also praying for that person too, because I believe that when you love someone, although you leave and although that might've been the best thing for your life, you still should pray for that person and you should still wish them best. But, it just depends on where I am in the healing journey. Some days I'm like, why did I even meet you? And then there's other times where I'm like truly praying, like, I pray for this person's healing. I pray for their deliverance. I pray for their future relationship and their future family as well. So it depends on where I'm at that day or that month. But as always, thank you so much for tuning in to Brianna Thizard's Journey. This episode was on healing in my journey. And every Sunday I do post a new video on just life in general, what I'm experienced, what I have experienced, what I'm looking forward to experiencing. And if you know of anybody who would be interested in this content, please share this with them. I hope you have an amazing Sunday. Today I was like, listen, I'm wearing my oversized sweatshirt today. I am relaxing. It is a happy Sunday. I just want to be chill today. But again, thank you if you've gotten this far. Thank you so much for listening to this video, and I will see you next week Sunday.